Hello, welcome, friends. I don't know that anybody's here, but regardless, I'm working on some stuff. And that includes a DK window manager. So, last couple weeks ago, in fact, when I was doing my Qtile installation, there was a few people that actually commented and said that they were missing a DK window config, and so that's something that I took it as a not necessarily a challenge, but overall, I had done one in the past, but I didn't actually do a specific kind of modular installation, and so that's what we're going to try and do today. So what I'm going to do is I'm wiping this machine so that I can get to just bare metal, and then we will work on the script just to make sure. I think that it will work, but you never know. You never know until you try. So I was actually hoping to be done with this part of the install prior to going live, but I said that I would go live at 7 o'clock, and it is now 7:02 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. Not sure anybody's actually here, but I'm looking at the analytics. It looks like there's a couple people here, so welcome. If you are interested, I generally do well. More and more, I've been doing streaming, and the reason why is because I have been really neglecting like coming up with new content. So I've been just working on the scripts that I enjoy working on, and then kind of like presenting them in this live format. Hopefully things work out. Sometimes they don't. And if that's the case, that's fine. I end up knowing what potential issues to fix. And you're going to be able to get that from my GitHub. So, by the way, if you are ever interested in any of the tools that I've kind of like built out, the GitHub link is in the description below. So I'm almost done. It should be only another couple minutes before we get actually started. I don't plan on streaming very much today, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most. But for those of you that are here that haven't actually put in any comments in the chat yet, thank you. And I know this is not that exciting, especially because this is like the easiest installation of Debian you'll ever see. Basically nothing on it except the minimum amount. I don't know if it's truly the minimum amount, but it's pretty close. I could definitely, you can like even hold back even more, but this seems to be like what I'm what I'm comfortable with as a minimum. Okay. And we're done. All right, I am going to try because I think it looks like it looks like my video is bad. It resized it for something, so let me try to fix that real quick. Oh, nope, it rectified itself. Even better, even better. Okay, so let's quickly log in, and let's see if we can sudo dpkg reconfigure console setup, and let's make the fonts larger so people can see, and that's much better. Okay, so in order to get to where we need to go, I'm going to install sudo apt install git micro and zram tools. Okay. Hello, Bella, in the chat. What are your thoughts on Hyperland and Wayland, especially now that we won't be getting Hyperland and Trixie? By the way, love your channel. Thank you so much. So Hyperland is, so I have used it and I have installed it on Trixie before. Now this was quite some time ago, and I want to say that it was a 0.35 or 0.36, which is, I think, several versions ago. And at the time, I liked the configuration file and how to get the configuration to work for you. So yes, I like it. Do I want to move away from the stuff that I'm working on? No, not necessarily. And to your point about, it not being in Trixie, apparently there was a maintainer that basically kind of left the project and did it, basically packaged it up one time and then kind of just like many of us have stuff that we need to do and kind of abandoned the project. Overall, though, I mean, Hyperland, what's not to like, right? What's not to like? So, what did I do? I installed ZRAM, so let's do this. Sudo first of all, let's ls blk. Yes, so the swap is only at 256, and so let's sudo micro etc default ZRAM swap, and let's go down and give it 50%. And now let's sudo system ctl restart ZRAM swap.service. And now when you ls blk, you're going to see 32 gig of swap, which is even better. You're welcome. So let's go ahead and clear the screen, and let's get clone, and then let's go to the new project that's new on my at my GitHub. So it's going to be github.com/drewgriff/dk setup. Okay. Now again, this is in the description below. You'll be able to find it. And like I said before, for those of you that are joining us now, I want to make sure that I hope that those of you that have said, hey, Drew, can you do the DK window manager setup? That was a couple weeks ago when I did Qtile. There was a few people that mentioned that specifically. So that's what this is. So let's cd into DK's setup, and there's going to be some similarities here between the Qtile, but more similarities between this setup and BSPWM. Well, okay, so there's some similarities to me between DK and BSPWM as well as DWM. So those two things kind of combined. All of them are written in C. DK is still being maintained by one of the Arch Labs developers, even though Arch Labs is not actually a project anymore. Nate Maya, who is was one of the lead devs for the Arch Labs project, builds the DK window manager and should be commended for doing so. So let's go and look at the install script really quickly. What you're going to find is, like I said, some similarities between this install as well as the BSPWM install. Okay. There is going to be in this part here where it's actually installing DK from source is very similar to how I do like a DWM install. So it's, built, cloning the project from Bitbucket and then doing the install. There's only a few things. There's only a few things that are required. Let me just see if I can find them really quickly. Yeah, right here. So these 6 things between libxcb randr 0-dev through the end here, where it says libxcb -res 0-dev. Those 6 packages need to be installed in order for DK Window Manager to run. There you go. And in order for it to build properly too. So you're going to need a way to build the project as well as those 6 packages from the Debian repo, and then you're gold. Okay. So, but the rest of it seems pretty good. Hey, Larry, how you doing, buddy? The rest of it seems pretty easy to get through. I'm installing PyCom. Let me think, am I going in? Yeah. I'm installing PyCom, installing WesTerm, installing a second terminal. Generally, when I install the ST terminal, it's for scratch pads. And I have a couple scratch pads working, so we'll talk about that when we get there. Installing fonts, installing the themes, installing a display manager, an Xorg display manager, whether I want to use my bash RC. It's not necessary. It's just more for me than anything else. You know what I'm saying? And then the optional tools. And when we get to the optional tools, we'll take a look at that. There has been a few more changes to the optional tools script, which is at my Butterscripts directory at GitHub. So let's go ahead and close this. And then hopefully this runs the install. This is one that I haven't tested near to the degree that I do with most of my installation scripts. And the reason why is because speed. I've been trying to get things as streamlined as possible, just so I could do a lot of code reuse. So do I want to install? And the answer is why, and it should just go. So you're going to find that if it does break, I will have a bug fixed fairly quickly. I shouldn't have too many issues, but overall, like I said, I've kind of like had a lot more code reuse, and that has helped me to kind of like build out these installation scripts a little bit faster. So we got 14 people in the audience. Thank you very much. I don't know where most of you are, but overall, I'm in actually stormy Florida right now, and it's not too bad actually. I think it just stopped raining, in fact. But overall, I hope your Sunday is going well. Hey, Darth. Okay. Turning my phone back off, or my do not disturb back on, rather, is what I should say. Okay, so like I said, I've been trying to kind of like keep things more modular. So, different sections of the install packages. This one is um, more core stuff, I guess is the best way to describe it. Hello from Brazil. Cool. So, what time is it in Brazil? Right here in Central Florida, it's 7:16 um, in the evening. Is it roughly the same? I don't know. Okay, so right now it's okay, 2016, nice, or 8:16 p.m. Cool. One thing that I had been working on it, we'll get to it, I guess, when I am using the optional tools script. Even though you're not going to be able to see the code, one part of the script is an installation of Genie, and I've been working on the settings part of it, so that when you install Genie, it actually sets up so all the settings, including all the because I use probably about 8 plugins for my Genie install, and I'm actually changing the settings of those plugins prior to the user actually starting up the application. Not to mention, I'm changing the color scheme, I'm putting in different font selection, and so on prior to anybody actually using the software. All that stuff is kind of like managed. Now, again, doesn't prevent you from actually, changing anything, but more for me, because I like when I start something, it's like, oh, it takes like, you know, it takes like 8 or 10 minutes to get it exactly the way I want it to. And if I can automate the process, then so much the better. Okay, so here we go. Installing DK Window Manager from source right here. Um, nice. That worked out good. Now it's installing PyCom from the FT Labs library. Installing WesTerm with the. Now, this is the. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know if anybody has been following my adventure with WesTerm at all, but um, WesTerm, the stable branch, which was probably, I think it's February of 2024 is the stable branch. Um, it's still fine, but the nightly version of WesTerm is, I think, quite a bit better. So I just decided, hey, I'm going to switch it up and use the nightly version, which is like, I think it was yesterday was one of the uploads. You know, I see user asking the question about a video for ButterFS and snapshots like I have for Debian. I I'll consider it. I'm not going to make any promises. um, the truth of the matter is, I've been really wanting to build out a ISO that does the installation that you're describing with ButterFS and Grub and all that stuff, like automated. so that, well, I mean, not completely automated. That would make no sense because I don't have any idea of what your hard drives look like or where you want to install. Um, Now, the reality of it is, I have thought about it and conceptual. I haven't. I mean, I've tried like on the very bare minimum level, and I want to. I want to build that kind of. That's not something I have. And one of the reasons why I haven't done it is because of Trixie coming out. And I'll wait till Trixie's coming out so that I don't have to kind of like reinvent the wheel over those 2 months. So anyway, yeah. All right, I'm going to install. I think I'm just going to install SDDM this time around because I haven't. Well, maybe I did last. I don't even remember. Hello from Italy. And Larry, cool. I've used your WES term for a couple of months and you like it. That's cool. And so let's install the optional tools. Cool. So yeah, this is the optional tools script that I've been working on. And so Butterscript's installer is number 1. So I'm just going to go and hit 1 and enter. And here's the Genie install with plugins, and that's going to do all the work for me. So we'll, maybe I'll take a look at the code once we have everything installed. But you can see that there's quite a bit of like packages that need, I mean, for those of you that don't use Genie and have any desire to code, it is a very powerful, I can't say that. It's a really lightweight IDE or text editor that people should take more account of. It's really, really good. It's really good. Now, one of the things, again, it's going to do, it's setting up everything that needs to be set up, but it's also going to install the color schemes. And so it's actually done that already. All right. So I'm going to go over to browsers since Genie was before, and I'm going to add another browser, I think. And just because I'm going to do something a little different, I usually install Firefox, but I'm going to install Brave this time around because Firefox ESR has already been installed, just so we're clear. Cool. Okay, Brave is installed. Do I need to install Discord? No, but let's go ahead and install FastFetch. Okay, and let's install NeoVim just to install NeoVim. I don't think it's going to take no time at all to do so. Again, guys, if you have not seen me do a video before and you're ever interested, the NeoVim that I'm installing is one that has been created as a Debian package from the source files. So if you're trying to install NeoVim when you're just trying to install it from the Debian repo, completely unusable. Completely unusable. So let's go back to, and then let's look at the apt, and I'm just going to skip. And yeah, I don't really need anything here. So let's just skip. Just to show you that it works, I'm just going to go and hit MPV. I like, let's go and install 6 and 7 and 8. And that should be good. And do I want to install LibreOffice? Nope, not relevant at this point. And then like here, you can install something like Figlet, and it will add it to your package list, and then it will do all the install for you. Okay. Jake at Linux, my podcast friend. And then I think that's done. All right, let's just go ahead and reboot. And yes. Okay, cool. So Jake, by the way, I took a look at Herbs Left WM today, and I looked at your config for it. I have not done anything at all, but I definitely looked at it. So, right there, okay, in the top here, we've got a session, and DK is the only thing in the session, so we'll go ahead and log in. And there you go. There's the DK window manager. I think it's pretty good in terms of it looks the way it should for a window manager. Now I have added some things, and the very first thing, and I always forget this, so I didn't want to forget this time around. I use a super H for help. So I'm just going to hit super H for help. And you'll see the way that the SXHKD, because out of the box, DK Window Manager does not have a key bindings. So I put this in so that you can see what that SXHKD is actually doing. Okay, so if you use Super H, you'll be able to find what you're looking for, hopefully. Okay, so like, I don't know if I have Thunar. Yeah, right there, launch. So Super F for Thunar. Okay, so if I hit Super F, you'll see that Thunar is coming up, and it is using my, it basically the theming has been already put into place. So if you LX, you're going to see that it is currently using the Orcus Gray Dark theme. And if you're looking for an icon theme, it is the Colloid Gray Dracula Dark. Okay, so that's what that is doing. Control H so that you can see the hidden files. And there you go. So it's done its work in terms of the installer has set all this stuff up for you. Okay. Now again, let's go back. I'm going to use Super E because that's my Genie setup. And there is Genie in the way that I have kind of like set it up to look. Okay. So it's using the color scheme. So if I go to view color scheme, it's actually using the GitHub Dark. And this is one that I actually created and submitted to the Genie Colors project. So this is I'm going to use the one that I mean, there's a few. They have accepted a few of mine. So like, for example, Octagon is one that I submitted and was accepted, and GitHub Dark. I don't think actually GitHub Dark has been accepted yet. But then Carbon Fox was another one that I did for them as well. So, but GitHub Dark, I don't know why it hasn't been accepted, but it's based on the GitHub NVim theme. So like, for example, if I go and I open up WesTerm, which is what you're seeing here, and I hit V, which is my shortcut for get to NeoVim, there it is. There's my it's taken a bit of time for it to actually do the install. It's just compiling. Oops. All right. Well. All right. So let me try this real quick, since we're doing a stream right now, and it really doesn't matter. Okay. Update. Okay. Yeah. All right. Not sure why that bash RC. Oh, yeah. Just look at that. All right, there you go. So anyway, this is what the Genie is looking like. And let's go ahead and pull up our DK configs. All right, so here's the dkrc file. While we're here, by the way, there's a shortcut here to get the tree browser out of the way. It's Alt comma, and so that just shows what we are. It gets it out of the way so that you're kind of in focused mode. The other thing is there's a Alt period, and it's for markdown editing. It shows a preview, and so that's toggling off there. Anyway, so the DK window manager is very simple in the way it's constructed. And one of the things that I like about it, it makes it seem very similar to BSPWM. So with BSPWM, you're going to be using BSPC. And with the DK window manager, it's the DK CMD or command. So it's going to be very similar in that regard. So I set it up very, I'm going to overuse the word similarities here for a second. Sorry. But it's very much like my BSPWM configuration that has a lot of the same kind of attributes. There is an auto start, very much like BSPWM, and it is using SXHKD. All of them are basically in the same location, which is in the .config DK directory. So like I said before, let me go ahead and open up and look at .config DK. So everything that you're seeing here is managed within this .config DK. That way everything stays kind of like, in its own lane. So there are wallpapers in case you want to use them. Let's just show you the one that I'm using, which I really like, this one. And then it's using Polybar for what you're seeing up here. Dunst, as well as Rofi. And there's a couple scripts that are in here. Most of them are common. Scratchpad and get layout rather are not common. They're specific for this window manager. And the get layout, actually, let's go ahead and open it over here. What it's doing is this and this alone. If you are interested in changing the layout of what you're seeing here, you can change it to any of these that that are available to you. And because I wanted it to be easy to see. So if you simple click, it automatically changed it to dwindle. This is a left mouse click. If you change it again or left mouse click again, you're going to see a grid layout, and we can just cycle through all of them. Okay. And this is tile, and this is the right tile, and this is spiral. Spiral is going to be the default. Okay. So just in case you want to know. Now, if you right click, you're going to see a list of all of them, and then you can easily select. So if I just go to dwindle, for example, or right tile, enter, it changed. Oh, it didn't do it. So that's a bug. I mean, it did, but it should have been right tile. So I will fix that. That's not a big deal. Okay. Yep. I'm going to have to fix that one. That's not a tough change. Okay. In fact, let me write that down real quick. Fix ordering for get layout. Yep. Okay, cool. Anyway, certain scripts are very common, like the help script. Let me go ahead and open that real quick. Okay. And what it's doing is it's basically reading this SXHKD. So, and it's specific to that SXHKDRC that's located in .config DK. I can't think if it's I think it's exactly the same, in fact, as the BSPWM, since they're both kind of configured the same way. Okay. So let's close this. Let's close this. I'm using 10 workspaces. Right there, actually, it says Spiral is the default layout for everything. It's using a master 1, stack 3. And so if I add another and then add a number, you know, it's showing you the spiral layout. Same thing if you're, you know, like most of my window managers, if you use Super Q, it closes Super Q to close. If you say hi, I think it's hi, it's going to work, right? Yeah, welcome to the Jag Linux desktop. So Dunst is working. If you are wanting to, and you want to switch them around, you just say Super Shift left or Super Shift right. You'll see that the smoothness in the way it's moving is basically attributed to the FT Labs PyCom fork, which is very, very good. If you want, you can use Super and then Control and then the left arrow to change the width of a window. If you want, obviously, if you Super Shift 4, it's going to move. It's going to move that one window to workspace 4, very much like anything else, guys. You know, let's move it back over to 1, and let's go back to 1. Let's add another thing. I've actually liked the ability to pop a stacked window out and have it float. So right now I'm just going to hit Super Shift and then the space bar. And what it's going to do is move, like toggle the active window from a stacked position into a floating position in the center of the screen. So, and then let's just go and then Super Shift space again, and it adds it straight back to the stack. Another thing that I've been working on is, like, let's go ahead and close this. If I hit Super Shift and Enter and then hit LS, it's basically using a scratch pad. So the scratch pad, as most of you know, basically is a toggled floating window. So if I hit Super and then let's go over to a different workspace. I've made them sticky, which means that they're, no matter where your active workspace is, it stays on that workspace. But it also toggles off. So like, for example, I use Super Shift and Enter to spawn this ST terminal. If I hit it again, it basically fades away. It's not actually gone, because when I toggle it back, it's going to be exactly in the same state after using LS, for example. So if I clear the screen, actually it's not, there we go. If I clear the screen, sorry, and if I just use FF, you'll be able to see that fast fetches up. In fact, same thing applies if I use Super and then the left mouse click, I can move it. And then if I right mouse click, I can change the dimension of it. So let's go ahead. And then clear this, and then let's say FF again. And that at least will show you. I mean, I'm using big fonts, obviously, to show people, you know, what I'm doing. That's pretty good. I thought it would be, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. So anyway, I'm using the DK window manager, and here's ST just for this specific purpose. Again, I'm using WesTerm as my main terminal. So Figlet A. There you go. Let's go back to 1. Okay, so I've explained how, as far as the polybar is concerned, um, it's it's something simple that can be easily like understood. So the only thing that I've been, as far as the differences between this and when I have my BSPWM um, polybar is basically just and maybe I'll add it, is the way to toggle the layouts. I mean, I can do the same thing, by the way. If I hit super and then the tab, oop, that's not right. Yep, sorry. Maybe I took that keybind out. Let me go look. Actually, let me go ahead and close this. And did I take the keybind out? SXHKD. Here we go. So for those of you that use SXHKD, there is nothing very hard about this. Super B, launch Firefox. Super Shift B, launch Firefox in private window. It's very, very simple. So Super Shift return, run Scratchpad. Super V, run Scratchpad in Pulse Mixer. So Super delete and insert is changing. So if I go super insert, it's actually changing the volume. Same thing. These are just dedicated keyboard so that you can raise volume or brightness or either up or down. Restarting the SXHKD is Super Escape. Restarting DK window manager is Super Shift R. Actually exiting completely out is Super Shift Q. Super Q is just close the window. Cycle the windows. Okay, so yep. I guess I took it out. I'm trying to think. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I actually, oh, that's what I did. So what I did, okay, this is going to look very similar to what I did with DWM. Okay, I decided that I was going to make it very simple so that you can just say Control Shift 1 through 7, and it will tell you which layout that you're in. So let's just say, because right now I'm in dwindle right now. So if I say Control Shift 1, okay, it actually, you'll see it up here. It's represented by a different icon or whatever image, and it says switch to tile mode. Same thing here. If I do Control Shift 2 through 7, you'll see that it sends a layout notification to Dunst so that you know where you are. As well as, there will be, like I said, kind of an image feedback here. And if you want, you right click and you know exactly where you are in terms of layout. So just a couple more functionality things. Spiral. There you go. If you've got any questions, feel free. It seems like I haven't had very many people on the chat or interact on the chat within the last few minutes. So I was hoping that I'm still streaming, actually. Let me think about this. So polybar. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't know, guys. It's very common to see something like this in a polybar configuration. So this is not something I want to put a lot of effort into. I think it's pretty easy to read. Is this thing on? True. Now, here's something. I don't normally talk about PyCom, but you can set opacity rules for individual applications. So like, for example, so I am using Genie right here, and you can see that, I mean, I don't know, maybe you can't, but I think that you can see even on the stream that there is some opacity to this main area here, for like, you can see an outline of the background image, or the wallpaper rather, because I've set an opacity rule within PyCom that shows, hey, I want a 94%. I want 94% for my opacity for Genie. And you can do that with just about anything, as long as you're using the class correctly here. So you can say, oh, I want to use it for Kate, or whatever other editor, or anything that you want. You could use it for anything. I just think that this is kind of a cool way to do it. And let's just say I turn this to, let's make it really, like, really opaque, really transparent, I should say. So let's just go to 50 and say save. I wonder if, do I have to like restart? Yeah, I think probably have to restart PyCom. So let's just say kill all PyCom. Okay. And then let's just go try to restart. There you go. So I've restarted, and you can see now everyone's too tied up in the watching how great a job you've done. Thank you, Larry, my friend. I guess that's everyone's still here. Enough said, Larry. Yeah, okay, thanks, guys. Okay, so basically what happened was you can see that the opacity rule now for Genie is quite a bit more transparent. So you can, like I said, you can set this up pretty easily. So let's go ahead and save this, and it automatically changed it back. Okay, cool. All right, so I have been, any questions? If you have them, please just feel free in the chat to post them. I've been only 47 minutes of streaming, so I'm good with whatever you guys want to talk about. For I think that I've pretty much covered everything that I want in terms of DK Window Manager, because it's really good. I mean, it really is very, very good. I think actually Jake said it in the chat as well. It says I think you meant DK is a great window manager. But yeah, I agree 100%. And it's very, very simple to understand in terms of its configuration. That to me is kind of what sets certain window managers apart. And when you know, like I said before, when you are using something simple to use in terms of configuration, it just makes things so much easier for especially newer window manager users. Hey, War Thunder, my friend. And when it reads very similar to, I mean, the fact is this is a bash script. If you're actually talking about, oh, that's right, it says it right here actually. This is just a simple bash script. Other configurations like Awesome WM, which is written in Lua, or Qtile, which is written in Python, or a number of other things. And somebody actually mentioned Hyperland earlier. You know, it reads really, really well in terms of how it looks like, what the configuration files actually look like. So I gravitate towards those, even though probably, I mean, BSPWM does this. Then there are others that are really old, like OpenBox, which I do have a configuration for, written in an XML. Super, super wordy. Let's take a look at that while I'm thinking about it. Let's go ahead and open a browser on Workspace 2. GitHub. This is what I'm talking about. So here's the OpenBox setup. Same thing, guys. If you're ever interested in something that's a floating window manager, OpenBox, outstanding. It looks like this, at least my version of it. And you can see that I am using some similar tools, including a polybar for that. Even though a lot of people will use a Tent 2 panel for OpenBox, I chose to use Polybar. It just made it look a little bit more modern and easier to deal with. So what I was going to say is if you go into the config and look at the RC XML, this is what the configuration looks like. And you'll see, I mean, maybe I should blow this up a little bit. Yeah. So you'll see that it's very wordy, very, very wordy. In fact, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom just to see how many lines of XML are part of this. Look at that. Over 1,000 lines of XML for the OpenBox. And let's look back over here. 63 lines of bash scripting for the DK window manager. And I don't even think it's a choice, guys. There's no choice here. I'm curious, actually. Let me go back over here. Let's go here and look at my BSPWM. I think it's going to be very similar in terms of BSPWMRC. Yeah, it's 50 lines, 52 lines. The BSPWM is 52 lines long. That's nothing. That's really nothing. And I'm not even using all of it. So on TimeShift, do you know if it can be set up so that after an update, it will create a new backup? Or do I need to create a cron job? I think there is a way to do that. So what is that project called? There's a project, and I can't remember the name of it right off the bat. Maybe I should go look. Grub TimeShift. Cron. I don't remember what it's called. I don't think this is it. I'm looking for something very specific. Apparently, it looks like Endeavor did it. TimeShift. Grub Butter FS. Maybe it was this. Maybe this is what I've been thinking of. So anyway, I can't remember, honestly, because I haven't done a snapshot install in a long time, frankly. So I'm kind of rusty on it. But take a look at this, Larry, and see if this, maybe you probably already know about this and maybe this isn't what you're looking for. But I do remember doing a video on this, and this was quite some time ago. Oh, okay. Okay, you're using it already. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. So I don't know anything beyond this. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Oh, well, great. It still works. Then it's even better. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna make this an even hour. So in 6 minutes, I'll be logging off. If you have any other questions, please feel free. Of course, I'm 0 for 1 now, Larry. Thanks a lot, buddy. You know what I'm saying? 0 for 1. Let me go back over here. And let's just take a quick spin around my GitHub. So what I've been like I said, I keep working on and trying to even here you'll see last week that I refactored to make it more suckless. Even the install. So I actually have an install original here. So with the installation getting smaller, I'm trying to make, trying to bulletproof things. Now, when it's, by the way, when you see it and it says, and you're looking in the code and it says, look at the Arch packages or look at the Fedora packages, you'll notice in the documentation that there is basically kind of like a option tag. So if you are using, if you're in, let's say Arch, and if you're in Arch Linux and you've downloaded one of these and you go, yeah, this isn't going to work, you have two choices actually. You can say, yeah, I just want the config, and it should allow you to install the configuration files on your Arch machine. Now, obviously, the installer does a whole lot more. For the Debian user, it installs all the packages necessary for it to be a fully working kind of desktop environment. If you either say only config, it's going to move the configuration files where it needs to go. And I've put in an export packages so that if you are looking at export packages and you say, and you put in that option, it should say, if you're an Arch user, you should be installing these packages in order for it to work. Now, I can't guarantee, like I said before, if this was since this is a Debian installation, I'm kind of using what I think is the right packages for Arch, even though I haven't tested it. But you get the idea. Same thing for Fedora. It says, use these packages and you'll be able to get where you need to go. Like I said, I can't be all things to all people here. So I'm attempting to help out anybody that wants to use a different Linux distro. That's just an attempt. It like I said before, it's not going to be supported. It's just not. Do Debian's older packages ever become a bother to you? No, they don't. I mean, overall, there are, like I said, there are exceptions. Clearly, there are exceptions in that NeoVim you can't install NeoVim from the Debian repo and have it do what you want it to do. Impossible. It's like 0.7 something, and we're at 0.11.2, I think right now. So anyway, yeah, no, I can't use that. So that's why I have certain things that are installers for the packages that I use. Like I have an install for NeoVim. There are other things. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, to be honest, fast fetch is not in the Debian repo. It will be for next, for Trixie. So that's why I have an installer for fast fetch. So let's actually go take a look real quick. So if I'm going to mine, and I have this thing in my repos called Butterscripts, okay? There are certain things that I want to install, and I've set up for anybody to install, okay? So with browsers, for example, it's going to install if you want these. In fact, I might need to remove, I can't remember if on Google Chromium is one that I need to remove from my list here. I think I might have, let me go look real quick. Yeah, I need to change my README because my README is going to say on Google Chromium, and no, I'm not supporting that anymore. So there you go. Anyway, this will install these. It will install these. That's that's the bottom line. So yeah, I have some kind of workarounds when something is not supported by the Debian packages, and I need something, I'll go and build something for it. I'm sorry, I'm reading Bella's question. TWM would recommend most similar with animations and all. You know what? I'll Once this, I'll do a little bit more thinking and researching about this, Bella, and I will post something in the comments on this video once it's live. Okay? Because I don't want to just say, I know the answer when I don't. I just think that sucks when people do that. So I don't know the answer, but I will look at this a little bit more carefully off. You know, I'll look at this more carefully. Does SwayFX do what? I'm not really following. So you're talking about the older packages? I'm not really sure. I'm not following. I mean, it's Sway, all the animations and stuff. So yeah. I mean, SwayFX does basically is Sway with with more animations and stuff like that, which is cool. Yeah. Again, I'm not doing anything that is Wayland related here. So SwayFX would be Wayland related. This is still X11. So in order for you to have the kind of animations and stuff like that, then you're going to need something like PyCom to do those things. Yeah, right, Larry? What's up, man? Why they got to ask me hard questions? What's up with that? So anyway, Discord just seemingly will install Discord for you because I'll be honest with you, Discord's installation for Debian is terrible. Awful. This is the best way to do it. 100% the best way to do that. And in that it actually takes the tar and installs it for you using the binary. Installing the binary, so much easier. So much easier, guys. I'm telling you, the Debian thing sucks. Okay, so this installs fast fetch. So MKV merge. This is just for me more than anything else. This MKV merge MKVs is definitely for me. So NeoVim is going to install the newest version of NeoVim. Build. So let me show you real quick. So in order for you to get the latest version of NeoVim, this is one way to build a Debian file for the latest version of NeoVim. So you just run this script and it will install NeoVim and then save it as a deb package for you to use. Okay. I should get through this really quickly. Setup, and you don't need to know anything about that. And then there's WebSterm. Okay, so let's talk about that and this will be the last thing. So installing WebSterm is simple in that simple for me. That sounds terrible, but basically what I found was installing the nightly version of WebSterm was a lot better than getting the stable version, which has been out for 16 months. Okay. And it's much more responsive. So what I'm thinking when I was running the stable version from February of 2024 was that it was on the slow side. Thank you. It took a beat, like one single beat in order for it to open up and be usable. I mean, and it should be instantaneous for a terminal. And so what I found was if you install the nightly version, it's much, much more responsive. So if I hit super enter, boom, it's just there, and I like the fact that I can use my Lua and have it behave the way I want it to on every single machine. So I just use this Lua configuration file and everything gets like perfect, So, all right, guys, I am cooked. I need a drink of water because I didn't bring one with me. And it is 8:05 Eastern Time in the United States. and I will talk to you all very soon. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patronage, and peace.